Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a bit. While folks are waiting, please feel free to drop your name, agency, where you're coming from in the chat. As you all know, this is our quarterly meeting, so it is very rare that we can bring everyone together. So it's a good way to kind of see who all is in the actual meeting, because we just don't have time to do those introductions. So while we wait, feel free to do that. But welcome, everyone. Thank you for being timely. Welcome. I see the numbers are still climbing. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Good to see everyone.
Oops. Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Hi, Sharon. Good to see you.
Good to be seen. Thanks. Same to you.
Yeah, welcome, everyone. Just waiting for a few more folks and we'll go ahead and get started. Hi, welcome. I love quarterly meetings. We can get the whole team on here. Well, as much as we can. I know we're right on the cusp of a vacation and a holiday. I hope you all took some time for yourselves, but we'll get started in just a bit. All right, so for the sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a jam-packed agenda. I know more people will be coming in. We have CJCC staff in the back kind of assisting with chats and muting. I will ask when you are in, right? And please be mindful of your mute. We're going to go over some housekeeping in just a second. But let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alina Acosta. I'm the Statewide Human Trafficking Task Force Coordinator, and I'm very pleased to welcome everyone to our third quarterly meeting for the 2025 Task Force Year Session. Crazy to think that it's already our third one, and we are three and a half months until the new year. And what a year it already has been. So very productive, filled with just so many passionate members. And I'm so excited for everyone to hear kind of collectively all the great work that we've done. I do want to really extend a special welcome to some of our new folks that are on the call. I know there's a lot of individuals who are not on the task force but are interested to join and are actually here today. So welcome. Today is going to be an incredible meeting for you to understand the task force as a whole, how we operate, what are the projects, and then we're also going to be talking a lot about open enrollment for the 2026 task force year, which begins in October. So this is a great meeting for you to come with all of your questions, hopefully get them all answered, but if not, come prepared to connect with me after the meeting. But with that being said, welcome. So I do want to go over kind of the run of show of what you all can expect. I did send out the agenda. It's been attached and updated as much as I can in advance for you all. But we're really going to start with a brief structure and overview of the task force. This is going to be really relevant and beneficial for our new folks, right, who want to understand, what is this project? How do we operate? And how do those 9 different working groups play into this? So for returning members, please bear with us as we go over that again. It can serve as a good refresher for you. After that, I'm going to turn it over to our chairs. You're going to be hearing from all 9 different working groups and their chairs and or co-chairs or identified members. We're going to be going over what is this work group in particular that's being discussed? What is the focus? And what are the projects and initiatives that we've either completed or in the process of being completed? And then I'm going to ask that all of our chairs end with any specific request that they may have. Right, I do want to remind you all, right, this is a huge project. We're not just siloed into our own individual work groups, right? Quarterly meetings are a great way for us to see the entire collective task force and also see areas where you can plug in, support, and help other members. Because again, we are a part of this large collaborative project. So chairs, please be thinking about those requests and areas for individuals to plug in. With that, I will say that we will be ending kind of this meeting more so with lots of statewide updates, right? We're going to be hearing about the Labor Trafficking Task Force, another task force that this one interfaces with frequently. We're also going to be hearing some really exciting updates from a CJCC side of things, and also hearing about the recent CSEC transition from our DFACS partners. Then we're going to be hearing from Christy Carter, one of our division directors here at CJCC, talking about VINE, Victim Information and Notification Every Day. It's going to be a really brief topical presentation, but very informative for you all as partners, just knowing about this resource and how to get plugged into that. And then we will be ending with some important admin updates specific to open enrollment. So please, please try to stay as long as you can to hear those updates. If for whatever reason you do need to hop off, because I get it, we're all very busy on this call, I just want to remind you that we are recording this meeting, right? So let's kind of move into some of the housekeeping, right? We are recording. Please be mindful of that, right? If your camera is on, if your mute comes off, right? Let's try to just be mindful of that. So we don't disrupt anyone, we don't disrupt any of the speakers, but also just want to remind you that if you do need to hop off for whatever reason, we are recording it and we will be uploading it onto our CJCC YouTube for you all to go back at your own convenience and leisure to rewatch it, or for some of our partners who weren't able to make it today, right? So with that being said, if you do have any questions, please, 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 let's try to hold them off until the end of the meeting, or feel free to utilize that chat function that is available at the top, should be at the top of your screen, right? Please, any questions, anyone you need to connect with, drop it in the chat, and we're going to be trying to monitor that and connecting with you all either during the meeting or after, right? But for the sake of time and respect of our speakers, we're going to ask that you all hold off any of those questions as well. Okay, I know that virtual meetings, it can be very difficult for us to network, right? So that's why if you do have questions or you do need to connect with someone, please don't hesitate to reach out and we'll make sure to try to facilitate that contact for you all, okay? So with that being said, I know we have a lot of people in the call. It's very difficult for us to do our introductions. So that's why we're not going to really go around the room and hear from everyone. Please feel free to drop your contact information in the chat. But I do want to take a moment and just recognize the different disciplines that make up this task force, right? The disciplines, the members, right, that make the work that we do possible, right? So I just want to give a huge shout out to our prosecutors, right? Individuals within the legal field. Thank you. Thank you for what you do, your support. Law enforcement at all levels, right? Couldn't do the work without you. Our victim advocates, our service providers, our faith-based agencies, community partners, state and federal agencies as well, educators, businesses, and of course our survivors, right? We could not do the work that we do without you. And I'm sure there's many other disciplines that make up this large effort, but I just want to just take a moment and just say thank you. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for continually showing up to our meetings and putting your best foot forward and coming up with some pretty incredible projects month after month. So thank you. With that, I also would like to recognize our fearless leader here at CJCC, Director Jay Neal. Though he is very busy, he always takes the time to prioritize this project. And so, Director Neal, if you have some time, if you can come off mute to just kind of welcome the task force, any welcoming words that you may have.
Thank you, Alina. We appreciate you very much, your leadership and the team's leadership. And I do prioritize the work of the Human Trafficking Task Force. One of the things that I tell my staff on a regular basis is we have an opportunity to impact people in every one of Georgia's 159 counties through the work that we do. And it's not because we're directly impacting people, it's because we're providing resources and training and technical assistance opportunities for people who are actually doing the work to have those kind of impacts. With the work that you do individually, many of you have that opportunity to directly impact individuals with your work. And we appreciate the individual work that you do within your field. But we also appreciate the work that you do collectively as a task force. With each of the 9 work groups specifically addressing your topic of interest and the work that you do, you are making a real difference as well. Not only for those on your work groups, but the work that you're doing is impacting victims around the state, survivors around the state, and it's impacting those individuals who are providing resources for them. Your work is absolutely critical, and we appreciate it very much. I know that this is the 3rd meeting. Your work groups are well on the way to wrapping up your projects. I know there's still more work to be done, and you're going to continue to do that work, but I'm looking forward to seeing the work as it's completed with the task force. Also understand that there are some folks on here maybe that are new, and you're looking at the task force and trying to decide, is this an area where you could get involved and where you can make a difference? And I want to encourage you to really take a really significant look at the work being done by this task force. If you really want to be a part of making a difference in Georgia, this is a good place to be. Don't hesitate to reach out to the CJCC staff that's involved, the work group leaders that are involved, other individuals that are on the task force that you may know. Don't hesitate to reach out to them with any questions and to learn more about the work of the task force. But let me just give you a personal invitation to act on the interest that you have. Go ahead and join the task force, get hooked up with the work group, and be a part of making a difference here in the state of Georgia. Georgia continues to lead the way with the work of the First Lady and the Grace Commission and the governor, and obviously the work of the task force. Georgia continues to lead the way in the nation, and we're proud of that. We also know that there's still a lot of work to be done. As much as we've done, as far as we've come, there is still work to be done. And your participation going forward will enable us to continue doing that work and continue working toward making Georgia, keeping Georgia the best state in the country to live and work and raise a family. So thank you very much. We appreciate all you do, and I'm just honored to be able to bring a greeting to you and thank you for your work.
Thank you so much, Director Neal, for your leadership and again, just your constant support. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, y'all. Well, that wraps up kind of the introductory and overview of just housekeeping. Now we're going to really dive into the structure of the task force. So obviously this is going to be a refresher for some of our returning folks. So again, bear with me just a second, but I think this is very important for some of our new folks, right, that are trying to understand, what is this project? So with that being said, right, the Statewide Human Trafficking Task Force is one of the state's largest MDT, multidisciplinary approaches to combating all forms of human trafficking, right? Now, I do want to note, this is not an investigative task force, right? Though we do have law enforcement on, right? Though we do have investigators on the task force, right? That's not exactly what we're doing, right? We really operate on a different type of more strategic framework that looks at the 5 elements of trafficking. So on the screen, you're going to see vulnerability, recruitment, exploitation, withdrawal, and reintegration, right? These are those 5 elements of trafficking that when you're looking at a case, right, and trying to understand, the process or where an individual falls, right, that's going to be this continuum. And so what this task force does is we have 9 different focus areas, and you can see them with the bullets here. We're going to talk about those in just a second, actually hear from them. But those different focus areas align with one of the 5 elements, right? And so what you're really going to see every single year, and you're going to see this play out in just a few moments with our chairs, is that we look at our focus area, and then we look at the element that we're under, and we look at the state as a whole, and we're thinking, what are the gaps? Right? What are the challenges that we see when it comes to our response to combating trafficking in this area, with this demographic, right? Within this element on the continuum? And what are some solutions to address that gap and challenges? And those solutions can look like training, curriculum development, deliverables, right? Different projects, research as well, standards of care that we're going to be talking about. And we're actively building on these projects throughout the year. Like Director Neal said, some of us are closing out some of those projects, and some of these projects, they're ongoing and they're going to take a while because everything that we do here on the task force is intentional, right? We don't want to just be knocking out projects left and right, but rather really building a strong foundation so that once it's completed, it can be used across the state and even if it crosses state lines, right? Like we want it to be a resource that benefits anyone working within this field, the professionals working within the field, but also, of course, our survivors. This truly is an MDT response, right? We are up to around 300 members right now coming from 100 different agencies all across the state, right? Not just Metro Atlanta, right? Because we want to hear from everybody, right? What's going on in South, rural, North, right? Because we understand that human trafficking is happening in all of our counties, right? In all of our communities, and it may look different, right? And so we want to be very cognizant of that as we're developing out these projects. Before we move over, though, and hear from all of our projects and our chairs, I do want to really delineate two things, right? Especially for our new members. When you sign on, you will have the opportunity to choose partner level membership or affiliate level membership, and both are very important, right? So partner level membership is kind of what I just explained, right? Those are those 9 different working groups that we're going to hear from in just a second that are very active. They have a very active involvement. They join the monthly meetings and are really involved in that project development. But affiliate level members, they're just as passionate, but unfortunately do not have the capacity to really join those monthly meetings and assist in that way as actively as they may want to, right? But they are still very important to this project in helping disseminate information, in providing expertise, space, donations, right? And just supporting wherever they can to more of our active level, partner level members. So for our affiliate level members on the call, welcome and thank you for your support, right? I always want to give you all a shout out as well because I feel like we talk so much about partner level. But going back to partner level, these are going to be those 9 different focus areas. We're going to be hearing from each of these chairs in just a moment, but I do just want to outline, right? We have 9 different ones. They fall within those different 5 elements. The first one is community awareness and education. Number 2 is youth aware and safe. 3 is deterring traffickers and buyers. 4 is keeping at-risk youth safe. 5 is apprehending, investigating, and prosecuting. This is our law enforcement and prosecutorial arm that focuses a lot on that limited availability of education for these disciplines. Option 6 is going to be specifically focused on labor trafficking and our foreign-born victims. 7 is survivors supported and protected, whereas 8 is survivors recovering and thriving, right? We're going to get into the nuances of those in just a second. And 9 is examining domestic adult sex trafficking, right? So without further ado, really the most exciting part of this meeting is we're really going to unpack each of these 9 different working groups and hear from the chairs and co-chairs themselves and talk about those exciting projects and ways for you all to plug in. As you all can see, there's going to be contact information here at the bottom that you can actually connect with those folks as well. So Carla, Harolyn, and Nikosha, I'm gonna give it to you.
Thanks, Elena. Hi, everybody. Glad to see you guys, even through the screen here at our quarterly meeting. These are my favorite meetings because I get to see what everybody is doing and working on and the cool projects that they've done. So just want to give a shout out very quickly to Work Group 1. We have a fantastic group. We have a very large group. And we've got some really cool projects going right now. And I just appreciate how much our Work Group 1 members have really dug in with us this year. We have our meetings are working meetings. So, they dig in for the full 2 hours once a month. And we've gotten a lot of stuff done. So one of the coolest things that we have finished is we have stickers, everybody. We have I think we went ahead and printed, I think it was 5 different designs. There they are, and they look fantastic. And these are available. We've done the first big printing of them for work group 1. The files are also available if your organization would like to print some for yourself. So just hit up Alina with a request, and you are welcome to print these out for yourself. But we've got a supply for work group 1. We're getting ready to head into some of our campus, our college program that Nicosia is going to talk about here in a minute. And so we've got some of these going already. So they look fantastic. We're very excited. And these designs, I know Alina was talking just a minute ago about partner level and affiliate level. These designs were created by one of our affiliate level members. So we really appreciate the support, even if you can't commit to being on a work group and doing the 2 hours a month. There are ways that even as an affiliate member, you can step up and really help us with projects that have very big impact, like our sticker project. So we are very excited to have these, very excited to make this resource available to you guys so that you can use them with your own organizations. Now, several of the things we're working on, for those of you that have been on the task force for a while, you will know about our conversations with an expert. Those are they go about an hour. They're really a deep dive into a more narrow topic for people who work in the field. So we had one last week, and it was fantastic. It was our yearly legislative update, and we had Representative Sue Hong, who's one of the governor's floor leaders in the Georgia House, who came and spoke a little bit about what she does as floor leader, as well as some legislation that she carried for the governor this year. And then we also had our very own director, Jay Neal, who came and spoke about the Grace Commission and talked to us about the history and how they're made up and what they work on and those kinds of things. I learned so much that I did not know at this conversation with an expert. And so it's in the process of being uploaded. Is that correct, Alina? Yeah. So we're in the process of getting that uploaded to the CJCC YouTube page and the Conversations with an Expert playlist. So be on the lookout for that. If you haven't, if you're not familiar with Conversations with an Expert, or you haven't kind of checked over there for a while, this would be a really good time to go to the playlist and look and see all the different programs that we've done. I think we've been doing this program for 3 years now. So we've got a pretty good back catalog of topics for you guys to go and look at and share with your resources. So I hope that you guys will go and check that out. I don't have access to the chat. Alina, if you or someone from CJCC could pop a link to the playlist, I would really appreciate it. My Teams is not working properly today, so I don't have the chat.
We'll drop it.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. Let's go next. We're going to have a couple of the other co-chairs talk about some other projects that we're working on. In particular, Nicosia Harris is going to speak quickly about the college campaign that's really getting ready to heat up now that fall semester started across the state. And then I did not see Harolyn on earlier. So I think Michelle Nelson,
Yes.
one of our work group members, is going to come on and talk about the medical toolkit that team has been working on as part of work group 1. So Nicosia, if you want to hop on and start talking about the college campaign, that'd be great.
Hi everyone. Can you guys hear me? My computer's been going in and out with the audio. Okay.
Yes.
Great. I am Nicosia. I am here with the CJCC with Elena. I am in the community programs unit. So we started a college campaign because previously I was the chair of work group 3, and during that work group we were going over trying to get some projects that would be beneficial to the work group, to the task force. And I and my former co-chair Kayla, we identified a gap in those college age students. We had awareness for kids and we had awareness for adults, but there was that group of those 18 to 22, 23-year-olds that are they're still kids, but they think they're grown. First time away from home, and we decided that we would do a college campaign to see if we could try to get some more awareness and education out to them. And Georgia State, lovely, my alma mater, decided to partner with us. So they were our pilot when we first did this in 2023. And I loved them for that. And since then, we've been able to do this at more college campuses, and we've been able to have more opportunities to do other things involving the college university system of Georgia. So right now, we're just going to go over a few updates. For those of you that have been in the meetings, I know we had a Georgia State training that was coming up this month that has been moved to October 16th. And unfortunately, right now, due to unforeseen circumstances with the actual university itself, their campus safety events have been canceled across all campuses for this semester, but they will be resuming in the spring semester. So we will be at those campus safety events in January, February timeframe. Our group will also be doing RA and Paw People. And if anyone doesn't know, the Paw People are what they call their student advocates. As Georgia become a freshman, get acclimated into the college lifestyle, and they're just there for anything that they need. So we're going to be doing the RA and the Paw People training for Georgia State on January 29th. Also, for anyone, I know there's some people that's not on the task force that is looking for something. Georgia State is looking for an intern for the student victims assistance office. So if you guys know anyone that is in a social working or related degree program that needs to do their practicum, Georgia State Student Victims Assistance Office is looking for someone. I'll put my email in the chat, and you can send me their information, and I can send them the information that they need and who they need to contact. If they are not a Georgia State University student, that is okay. I've been informed that they would still be able to do their practicum at Georgia State Student Victim Assistance Office. They would just need permission from their school, the head of the social working department or the related degree program. So, moving on, we have an event at Kennesaw State's Marietta campus that's going to be on September 18th. This will be a lunch and learn. And let me go ahead and I'll drop the flyer in the chat. I'm like
Perfect.
Carla right now. My office is not working great because I'm on Wi-Fi instead of the wired internet. But we will be at the Marietta campus on 918. Chick-fil-A will be provided. So if there is anyone in the group that wants to come to that, please let me know so I can get your name up to Jessica so we can make sure that you're able to get on campus, and we also have enough food for everyone.
Awesome.
Also, in regards to Kennesaw State, their health and safety fair is coming up as well. So for anyone that's on the work group that has an organization that wants to table at their health and safety fair, please let me know as soon as possible so I can get that information over to their student coordinators as well. And also, so this is a big one for us. The Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Youth the Men Group has invited us to present for their college preparedness meeting that they do for their outgoing seniors every year. So this is going to be in the spring, this January. I'm going to be meeting with their community organizers this Sunday. So I'll be
Nikosha, you're cutting in and out. So if I'm just going to ask if you could actually drop that list of events that are upcoming, that would be wonderful because I would love to welcome anyone that's a part of the Nikosha. Hey, you're
Go
cutting in
ahead.
and out. You're
Yes,
good. You're
can you hear
cutting
me?
in and out. But
Okay.
I was gonna say if you could drop the
Okay.
list of all of those upcoming events, that would be amazing because I would love to welcome any interested individuals to come and join. You're just cutting in and out. But thank you so much, Nikosha, for that update. We're really excited about this college campaign, and just really, like Nikosha said, addressing that gap when it comes to just the college age student. So if anyone here has connections within the university system or has any ideas and would love to plug in, Nikosha's email is right there, and she will be able to connect with you and have some of those conversations as well. So thank you, Nikosha, and thank you to Work Group One for all your work with that college campaign. I'm going to toss it over to Michelle Nelson, who is kind of going to be speaking on behalf of the medical toolkit. So Michelle, if you're available, can come off mute.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be a member of the medical group, which falls under Work Group One. And this group has been very hard at work over the past couple of years, working on initiatives that focus on how to better support healthcare providers and their ability to confidently identify, screen, document, support, refer trafficking victims. And so we've been trying to come up with different ways to best address this and to get healthcare providers prepared in order to do this work. And we have been able to work on a few documents over the past year to 2 years. But we realized as we were going through this exercise that we still needed to understand or do a needs assessment. What specifically is the need to be able to determine how to best and confidently prepare our healthcare providers? And so, what we are proposing is a mixed methods approach, which would be qualitative and quantitative data collection in order to evaluate the needs of healthcare providers. But we also realize that a lot of the work has focused on the metro Atlanta area. And to make sure that there's wide representation of individuals that are in rural areas, the southern part of the state, the northern part of the state, we wanted to make sure that we were assessing and submitting the surveys based on geography and demographic changes that are evident in different parts of our state. So we want to focus more so now on rural and northern areas. Now, some of the potential partners that will be utilized to distribute the survey will be SANE coordinators throughout the state, the Georgia Hospital Association, various healthcare systems, CHOA, which is Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Traffic Jam, which is an HT-related organization, and Marnie and Sains. So we're going to set a specific time frame in which to do the surveys and get them completed. And once we have them created, we're going to review them, hopefully at our next meeting before sending them out to the individual partners. So once we have completed the needs assessment and identified what they are, we're looking to host targeted events based on the various areas and the demographics of those areas. Because what we really want to do is make sure that we're bringing all the stakeholders to the table and we are bringing together leadership so that we have a well-rounded and represented set of thought leaders that are going to be able to get all this information together. And what better than a nice way to get together and put all this information together and put eyes on each other. This really gives everyone an opportunity to have a seat at the table, have skin at the game, and also to reflect on other things we may not have touched on when we were doing our survey. So We want to make sure that the individuals that are represented at these face-to-face events are going to be a cross-section and wide representation of the relevant sectors, which will include executive leadership, legislators, scene coordinators, the Georgia Hospital Association, the Board of Nursing, public health, even the Board of Medicine, EMS, fire, ER staff, graduate medical and nursing schools. And we do recognize that schools are a fantastic environment to be able to get this information out and start to put in place the next rung of individuals that are going to be leading the charge, as well as other healthcare professional associations. The goal is to make sure that we're no longer having siloed conversations and that we're bringing together all of the perspectives to have a say in how we're going to combat this and to hopefully come away with actionable items, as well as other things that we may not have thought of before. Because we do realize that the more that we do this work and that we meet, we're coming up with more and more things that are relevant that we may not have thought of before. So what are those next steps going to be in combating human trafficking within the medical sphere and beyond? So we're very excited about this work. We also
Yes.
welcome input from the wider audience. And together we know that we're going to really move the needle in this respect.
Mhm.
I know
Awesome.
that
Thank you.
Shelly Ann McKenzie is also on. Shelly Ann, did you have something else to share? Shelly Ann?
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. You covered that beautifully. I think we were able, well, not think, I know we were able to get a lot of work done when we met with Alina on this the last time. And then we have our survey that we reviewed our survey questions, and we're almost ready to go and just set that time frame so that we can share that across our networks. So it's not just for
It's gonna be
work group
great.
one. It's not
Mhm.
just for work group one. So when we launch this and when we publish it and share it in emails, go ahead and share it in your network so we can get the data that we need to make the most informed decision. So we're excited.
Awesome.
Shelly Ann, you bring up
No,
a really
thank
good
you.
point. This only works if we have buy-in from everyone. We need massive engagement. So please, when you start to see these emails go out, please
LinkedIn,
help us
everywhere.
out with dissemination of the surveys. Thank you so very
Yes.
much, Alina. I yield
Thank
back to you.
you. Thank you.
Awesome.
As you all can
Thank-
see, Work Group 1 is busy. Work Group 1 is busy, and has a lot of fearless leaders within this work group that makes my life very easy in kind of leading this group. So thank you all, everyone who reported out. Please, if anyone has any further questions or just thoughts or connections, Michelle, please drop your email in the chat so people can connect with you as well. But thank you, Work Group 1, and thank you to all of the partners in Work Group 1. I'm going to toss it over to Work Group 2 now. We're going to be hearing from Chandra Merriweather from Magdalene's Gate. Work Group 2 is focused on youth aware and safe. The chair, Jasmine Fraser, she's not able to be on today, but she comes from Eternal Rain for Sunshine Girls. So Chandra, I will toss it over to here for you to hear that update.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alina. I wanted to just tell Work Group 1, thank you so much. We did utilize your stickers this year and they were amazing.
Yes.
So thank you again for all of your hard work, and those stickers were awesome. And I wanted to give a quick just thank you to all of our Work Group 2 members as well for all of your hard work. Hopefully you guys will hear everything that they have done this year and just a hard work and dedication. So thank you so much, Work Group 2. And our fearless leader, Jasmine, for all that she has done. So anyway, Youth Aware and Safe continues our mission to prevent human trafficking among youth here in Georgia. One of our major accomplishments this year was the completion of our Youth Empowered Preventing Trafficking Recruitment Toolkit. It's a peer-to-peer prevention toolkit. This interactive resource equips at-risk youth and those who may be vulnerable to peer recruitment with tools to recognize risks, build healthy relationships, make positive decisions, and set goals and values. To ensure its effectiveness, we created a Train the Trainer guide, which equips professionals to confidently deliver the toolkit. By building capacity among trusted adults and mentors, we're ensuring this resource reaches more young people and creates a ripple effect of prevention. So this summer, we launched our pilot program to test the toolkit in real time. The pilot took place at Safe Place here in Gwinnett County on July 31st and August 1st with 11 participants, and the youth were ages 16 to 20. Over 2 days, the youth were engaged in group activities, reflection, and conversations that made the content personal and meaningful. The results were powerful. We had knowledge growth. We gave post surveys, and those post surveys scores were doubled compared to the pre surveys. So they learned a lot. Engagement, the youth and staff were highly engaged, actively participating in the activities and discussions. By day 2, the students were connecting personally with the material, creating safe and reflective spaces. Toolkit effectiveness, the structure translated seamlessly into real time, encouraging participation, sparking meaningful dialogue between the youth and, of course, us when we were presenting the toolkit. Looking ahead, we're now entering phase 2. We will integrate lessons learned from the pilot to strengthen the toolkit, then expand piloting with staff and facilitators who work directly with youth. Our commitment remains clear. We want to educate, empower, and equip both youth and professionals, ensuring that Georgia's young people are safe, informed, and aware. So again, I wanted to say thank you, Work Group 2, for all the hard work and dedication you have put in. We look forward to carrying that momentum into 2026. If you have a passion for youth and keeping our youth safe, please join our work group during open enrollment. And Jasmine and I are always open to questions. So that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chandra. I know Jasmine's not here, but just a huge shout out to her leadership and for just all of the members who participated in that. It was so successful. So please, Chandra, drop your email in the chat as well, because it's not here on the screen. And anyone who is not a part of Work Group 2, please feel free to connect and learn a little bit more, right? Especially new individuals that want to get linked in as well. So thank you, Chandra. Thank you, Work Group 2.
And just so Work Group 1 knows, the pilot that we did with the Safe Place kids, they're the ones that wanted your stickers. They wanted 2, 3, 4. You can ask Alina. We were giving stickers to all of the kids. They were like, oh, wait, we want that one too. So they were awesome with what we were doing. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So next we're going to be hearing from Work Group 3, which is focused on deterring traffickers and buyers. This is chaired currently by Dr. Kendra Taylor from the ICME Society. Dr. Taylor, are you on? I know where there were some issues there.
Can
Perfect.
you hear me okay?
All right. I can. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. I'd throw it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Elena. And I just want to give a first shout out to all of the hardworking members of Work Group 3. We are a relatively small work group, but we are very nimble. And we have learned how to leverage resources that are available. And one of those resources that we were able to leverage is a program through the Institute for Operations Research and the Management Sciences, INFORMS, in order to get 2 project teams that were volunteer teams staffed by individuals that work in data science and analytics in their professional careers or are either graduate students or recent graduates of analytics data science programs. And so we had initially 2 teams of 8 volunteers who helped us with 2 projects that we have just completed. We're putting the finishing touches on them. And then we will be launching some additional projects going forward based on the outcome of these projects. But the first project, which many of you have heard me explain and share, both of them you've heard me explain and share before, but I'll go over them again. The first project is what we call the Buyer ID Manual. Similar to the way the stickers have been so beneficial and helpful to students, we're looking for this manual to be beneficial and helpful to those in law enforcement, in policymaking, and in survivor support areas, so that we can understand some of the demographics of buyers, what their fears are and what their goals are. And so that project team used artificial intelligence and large language models to review over 50 research articles that have been published, or they were research articles or articles in the industry around buyers and what their fears are, what their goals are, what their methods have been in order to get involved in buying, and they have created 10 different buyer demographics to help inform the decision making around buyers. So that project has been completed, and we are in the process of getting the results published and presented at research conferences in artificial intelligence and data science. So I'm very proud of that team for the work that they have done. And we're also working at getting that information circulated. So look out for those buyer ID manual profiles and the different formats that we're able to put it in so that it is digestible across different platforms. The second project that we have is called Arresting Buyers, and it's around understanding what happens when a person is a buyer and they're not necessarily arrested. And this was based on the data that we saw around how many victims are rescued versus how many buyers are actually arrested. And so we wanted to understand why we saw a mismatch, so to speak, in that. And we came up with 4 hypotheses around that. The first is if trafficking occurs, then the police are called. So we wanted to test that. The second is if the police are called, then the buyers are arrested. The third is if police hold a sting, then they have enough resources to arrest buyers. And the fourth is if buyers are arrested, then the penalty for the buyers is fair. And that is fairness as from the perspective of those in law enforcement. So we looked at the data that was available from GBI and the Statistical Analysis Center that works with CJCC. And then we also did a survey. And thank you to any of you who participated in this survey that was sent out. We had about 30 different organizations represented in the survey. And they provided their answers to questions that were related to each of those 4 hypotheses. And based on that, we were able to look at whether those hypotheses held or not. We have some very, very insightful results from that are typically not things that you actually hear in the trafficking space. It's kind of, if you know, you know, but if you aren't that heavily engaged or involved in it, you might not come across situations where police are called, but the buyers aren't arrested, for example. So that was very insightful information to hear, and we are looking forward to, again, presenting that in a digestible format for all of you to see. One thing that I will say to those affiliate and partner level members is I invite you all to our October 29th presentation. It's a Wednesday from 1 p.m. It ends at 3 p.m., but the last hour is held for networking, where you'll have an opportunity to see not only the volunteer teams that prepared this work, but other volunteer teams that work with nonprofits in analytics and data science for free, providing them with 3-month consulting projects outcomes. Informs, the organization that hosts this pro bono analytics service offering, is having its annual meeting here in Atlanta during that week. And so the last day of that conference, which is Wednesday, October 29th, again from 1 to 3 p.m., the committee that leads this is hosting a presentation of the projects. And so it's not just projects in human trafficking. There are projects across the board from other nonprofit organizations in Atlanta that have taken advantage of the free consulting services. And it's an invitation for you, your organization, to see what type of data, what type of analytics this team can do for you. You can go to the website. It's Pro Bono Analytics. I'll put the website in the chat.
Yes,
but you can go to the website and see what other types of projects have been done. and potentially come out and talk one-on-one with some folks that can help you kind of scope out a project for your organization. And that's all, of course, like I said, free of charge. So that's where we are at this point with work group 3. And if you have any questions or need to get in contact with me, my email address is there on the screen. I'd be happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Taylor. Really looking forward as we continue to finalize that research, get it approved as well via internally at CJCC, and then of course the conferences. So a huge shout out to work group 3, small but incredibly mighty group that we have. So thank you, Dr. Taylor. Right, moving right along, we're going to hear from work group 4, which is keeping at-risk youth safe. This is chaired by Kathy Butler, Comfort in the Storm. So Kathy, I will toss it over to you.
Thanks, Elena. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Well, Work Group 4 has been doing some amazing work this year. We actually started our project last year, and we've just, kind of continued with our forward progress. As Elena mentioned at the top of the hour, many of our projects, don't wrap up in a specific amount of time. We work on it until it's done. And so with that being said, we have a couple of things that we have been working on and are continuing to work on. The first thing that we have already completed, and it's out for public registration or use, is our curriculum. So we do offer a 4-part curriculum for youth, middle and high school. So if anyone is interested in having human trafficking 101, maybe social media safety, culture, and just, how to spot red flag behaviors, then we do share this curriculum. We deliver it directly from our work group. We don't actually send out the curriculum, but we will deliver it. So if there's someone who has the need for this curriculum, please reach out. I'll put my email address in the chat. But most recently, we are really proud of our new ad campaign. This campaign was launched back in July, I believe it was. And these are posters that are now in the Fulton County Juvenile Court. They are on the digital boards, but you'll also find physical copies in the elevators. And these posters were really designed because our work group is tasked with making sure that we are producing work that is going to be utilized or seen by youth, right? So with that, we created these ads because we wanted to make sure that we're getting the information in front of our youth. There's a lot of misnomers out there, as you all probably know. Youth are receiving all kinds of misinformation and disinformation around the concept of trafficking, what it is, and versus like what it's not. And so these particular ads were developed to first area of exactly what human trafficking is. So we have one poster that is to the far left on your screen, which is essentially asking the question, are you receiving money, shelter, or anything of value in exchange for sex? Because that is really the basis of what commercial sexual exploitation of children really is. And so then we go through a little bit of information around statistics as it relates to trafficking. And then of course we want to let them know that if they are experiencing this, or someone that they know is experiencing this, then there is help. So we have the number to our hotline. Next, we thought it was important to talk about sextortion. It is a topic that is happening every single day, and most kids don't know that it actually has a name. They might have been told, if you don't send me more pictures of yourself, or if you don't give me money, or you don't do this or do that, I'm going to share, the pictures that you've already sent to me. I'm going to tell your parents. There's all kinds of ways that children can essentially be blackmailed or threatened into participating in this particular issue of sextortion. And so we wanted to bring it to the forefront, not just for kids, but also for parents, right? There are a lot of adults, whether they're parents, caregivers, adult professionals, who really do not have any idea of what sextortion is. They may have heard about it in some sense, but they didn't know it actually had a name, and they didn't know that it was actually, against the law. And so we wanted to bring that to the forefront and let kids know, if you've participated in this behavior, it's okay, to speak up and let us know that this is happening to you. You're not alone, and it's okay to say no at this point. And so again, if if that's them or someone that they know, they can reach out to the hotline. And then lastly, when we talk about, sex trafficking, when we talk about child sexual abuse, we're always using this term of a safe adult. Talk to a trusted adult, talk to a safe adult. But then the question begs, well, how does a youth know what a safe adult is? And so this particular portion of the campaign is designed to actually address it, to define it. What are some of the characteristics and traits of a safe adult or a trusted adult? And then, of course, again, the number is available for them to call if they need help. So this particular, these 3 campaigns are already live. We are piloting them in Fulton County, because we did talk to our data scientists and we discovered that, of course, some of the largest penetration of trafficking of youth is happening in Fulton County. And so we started with the biggest county, and then we will be expanding over time. So we are awaiting some results to see exactly, if youth are calling as a result of the campaign, and what feedback we may be receiving. Now, we are currently working on phase 2 of this campaign, which is going to be addressing the paradigm of familial trafficking. And so we have our graphics created. We are going to be presenting them to our Youth Advisory Council this month. And these particular graphics are dealing with the idea that, number one, you are not alone. So if your family is pressuring you to do things or to, exchange sexual, activity or favors because you have to help pay the rent, or you have to keep the lights on, or you have to help contribute to groceries, or you have to purchase your own clothes, whatever the case may be, we want to let them know that familial trafficking is a real thing. And then we want to put a face on it. So we, kind of share with them exactly who the face of your trafficker can be, whether it is a parent, a step parent, a guardian, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, any relative. So we're putting this information out there so that they can kind of self-identify if they are a victim of familial trafficking or they know someone that's a victim of familial trafficking. We're also asking a similar question around, how does your family make you feel? Because that's a big question in terms of, if they don't make you feel safe, if they make you feel as though your value is tied to you performing some type of sexual act, do you feel like you can't say no? And if so, that's not okay. You're not alone. You can get help. So that is phase 2 that we're working on right now. We created some really nice graphics through the help of one of our affiliate members that really kind of presents in a very youth-friendly way. So hopefully if they're sitting on a bus, or they're, walking past this flyer in the courthouse, or maybe they see it in their local, at their school, that is going to capture their attention. So that is phase 2. We are trying to get the posters into the airport. We're trying to get them on MARTA. So whether a MARTA bus, a bus station, a MARTA shelter, we are actively trying to work with these partners to find out how we can get this information in front of more youth, because obviously that's where we're going to see the biggest benefit, is if youth are seeing it and they're contacting the hotline and they're getting help. So that's where we are right now with work group 4. If anyone is interested in working on content that is going to be, directly impacting youth, if you're someone who likes to facilitate, you can certainly join work group 4, because as I mentioned, we have an entire curriculum that we built out, and we are always looking for facilitators for that. So if that's you, we would certainly love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kathy. And thank you so much, Work Group 4, for all your hard work. And as Kathy mentioned, a huge shout out to some of our affiliate level members who assisted. Didn't have the time to really join as actively as the rest of the members, but still was very impactful in the development of those projects. So thank you. So we're going to go out of order for just 1 second. We need to hear from Work Group 9 very quickly, because they have to hop off. Something came up, but she still wants to provide that update for you all. And then we'll toss it back over to Work Group 5. So Work Group 9 is examining domestic adult sex trafficking, doing a lot of really great, impactful work in this area, and it is chaired by Jess Roth from the Freedom Collective and Dr. Margie Gill from Tabitha's House. So Jess, I will toss it over to you.
Thanks, Alina, and I bring greetings from Dr. Gill, who also had to hop off. But our group has taken on a really significant project over the past 2 years, and we've been developing a standards of care guide to kind of evaluate and make sure that agencies providing care for adult domestic sex trafficking survivors do it in such a way where survivors are cared for in a good and healthy way. And so this could be people that are providing hotlines, residential programs, community or system-based supports. But our team's really been working very diligently, taking on this large task. The state of Georgia already has standards of care for youth, but not for adults. So we're finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, reaching a point where we just have one section left to finish up, and then we will be able to send that over to CJCC to review. And hopefully that'll be the project within the next year, is to get it to where that standard is required for Georgia programs. So I'm really excited about this project. I think that it will help just to make sure that we are really caring for survivors the right way here in Georgia. So that's exciting. We would love to expand our group. If you are interested, as open enrollment comes up and you have a passion for helping adult survivors of sex trafficking, then group 9 is for you. We love to have input from all different areas. So whether you're currently working in a program that serves survivors, healthcare, law enforcement, really we want to have the perspectives of everybody share into these standards so that we make sure that we're covering everything. So we'd love to have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jess. I know that that project has been a labor of love. So shout out to all Work Group 9 members, because we are definitely in the home stretch when it comes to that project. So thank you so much, Jess, for being on and just Work Group 9 in general. Appreciate every single one of you. Awesome. So we're going to turn it back to Work Group 5. Thank you all for your flexibility and patience with us. This is our law enforcement and prosecutorial arm, apprehending, investigating, and prosecuting. It is chaired by Maggie Meats from the Office of the Georgia Attorney General, and also Michelle Lamb from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. So we're going to be hearing from Maggie today as she provides that update. So Maggie, I turn it over to you. And Maggie, if you're speaking, you may be muted.
Can you hear me?
I can. You're a little muted though.
Okay, let me.
Is that better?
Yes, it is. Hey, Maggie.
Hey, sorry, the joys of working with a government computer. Hey, everybody, my name's Maggie Metz. I am, like Elena said, the co-chair for Work Group 5. I work with the Georgia Office of the Attorney General as a prosecutor with the Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit. To tell you a little bit about our focus in Work Group 5, we primarily focus on combating the limited availability of resources in education on how to properly investigate and prosecute human trafficking cases in Georgia. The projects that we develop in Work Group 5 highlight the benefit of a multidisciplinary, trauma-informed, and victim-centered approach to any project development. Previous projects and initiatives that have been completed by this group include a 2-day training, which has been performed several times over, and I've understand that it has been very helpful in allowing law enforcement within different jurisdictions to properly identify human trafficking cases and to assist in serving those victims. And additionally, the last project that was completed was a handbook to different areas of law enforcement and prosecution in the state of Georgia. Our current initiatives include human trafficking training and law enforcement liaison and resource connection project. It's an attempt to foster a statewide collaboration and resource connection among law enforcement and prosecution. We are partnering with the Georgia Chiefs of Police and Governor's Office of Highway Safety to conduct human trafficking training across the state at various district meetings for those groups. The goal there is to increase the knowledge about human trafficking and foster connection by identifying at least one contact from either of those disciplines in each county that will help a statewide collaboration on human trafficking to issue updates, trainings, and resources too. To date, we have been able to attend multiple district chiefs meetings and governor's office of highway safety meetings and have successfully trained 175 police chiefs and command staff. Additionally, we are beginning to reach out to fire and EMS in different counties. CJCC staff has successfully trained 100 fire and EMS at Gwinnett Fire and are having collaborative conversations with DeKalb County and Bleckley County Fire as well. And that concludes the update. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maggie. Something that she mentioned about the 2-day training that came out of Work Group 5, that Maggie and her team play a huge pivotal part in that training. We try to regionalize those and provide them, 2, maybe if we're lucky, 3 times a year. And the one that is coming up is going to be in December 11th and 12th in the Columbus area. We're still kind of chatting through those details and getting all of our trainers on board. But once everything is finalized, you all will be the first ones to know, specifically within that area. But everyone is welcome to come. It's 2 days, it's free, and post-credit and CEUs are also available. So with that being said, thank you so much, Work Group 5, for all the great work and just productive, time, meeting, and training that we've been able to do. So thank you, Maggie, for that update. Now we're going to be hearing from Work Group 6. So Work Group 6 is foreign-born and labor trafficking, really focused on labor trafficking. It is co-chaired by Angelica from GEP Worldwide and also Priscilla Baravecchia. They are not able to be on today. They had some conflict, so I will be providing that update for you all. But Work Group 6 has been very busy. It is a project that we've been working on for a little over 2 years now, trying to be very intentional. And the area that we have identified as a gap within this area of labor trafficking is our businesses, right? We've identified different businesses that are known to be vulnerable to labor trafficking and are thinking about ways of how can we empower them, right? Whether it be with education, sample policies, documents, flyers, information very tailored to businesses, that no matter what area, whether it be a vulnerable business or not, can really take this resource and this toolkit. That's what we've titled it, Georgia Businesses Toolkit Against Human Trafficking, and can really take it and apply it to their current businesses practices to either enhance what they currently have or really build from scratch. So we have really kind of finished out the development of that toolkit. There's still some editing that's going through, especially with some of the training. But now we've moved on to the next step, which is business outreach, right? We want this tool now to get into the hands of businesses. And so we've been really thinking through ways to actively engage with different state agencies that work with businesses, right? Industry training coordinators within those industries, local chambers of commerce, small business alliances, right? Different agencies that we can just get this resource in front of and just ask for that feedback. What are those next steps? How can we get businesses to buy into this project as well? So we're really excited about those collaborative conversations proving to be really effective, and we're hoping with some promise moving forward with that. So a huge shout out to Work Group 6 for Project 1. As we kind of close that out, we've also been looking through ways to also identify gaps within local communities when it comes to foreign-born victims and just labor trafficking in general. So we've pivoted to begin including a different project area. And so, like I said, we are looking at areas and gaps within local communities and especially our community providers that because of certain things are really struggling to have some of that kind of connection with those individuals. And so we've actually partnered with Catholic Charities. They're one of our members on Work Group 6 that has had great success in interfacing with the community and the community coming out to them and sitting in on some of their trainings. And so we've partnered with them to develop a kind of know your rights, but also what is labor trafficking training and be able to provide that in both English and Spanish to really target that demographic all throughout the state. And so we've been really diligent building out that training, being very intentional with its content. And now we're just thinking through ways to actually disseminate it, potentially record it, et cetera, et cetera. So Work Group 6 has also been busy. As you can tell, all of our work groups have been very busy this year. So if anyone is interested on Project 1, which is more of the business side, and then Project 2, which is really engaging with our local communities and within those demographics, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself. Always looking to make some more connections. And of course, plug you all in if you're interested for next year. So a big shout out to Work Group 6. Y'all are rock stars. So I'm going to toss it over to Work Group 7 now. This is Survivor Supported and Protected, chaired by Mary Gates from Map to Hope and also Dr. Gill from Tabitha's House. So I know, Mary, you are on and can provide that update.
Yes, hello, good afternoon, everyone. I always love to hear these updates. We are such a powerful team together, all of us. Work Group 7 is focused on withdrawal, survivor supported and protected. We're the only work group on the task force specifically focused on withdrawal, helping adult survivors self-identify so that they can access services. So we're focused on filling gaps related to survivor identification and connection to services. So several years ago, we started asking the question, is anti-trafficking marketing as a whole effective? Are survivors able to identify their experiences as quote unquote trafficking so that they can call a hotline? And if they do connect to services such as long-term programs, how do they feel about the use and sharing of their stories by these organizations? So we wanted to look at anti-trafficking marketing from a survivor-centered lens. There is a huge gap in the research about marketing from a survivor-sensitive lens. And with this in mind, Work Group 7 began an IRB-approved multi-year research study. Huge projects. It has taken us a number of years, but last year we did publish this anti-trafficking marketing research study in partnership with Brown University, graduate students, and our incredible Work Group 7 co-leader, Dr. Margie Gill, who could not be here today. This was a qualitative research study which centered survivor voices. Survivors were asked open-ended questions during one-on-one interviews by Brown graduate students with trauma support in place, of course. The interview questions were written in collaboration with the task force to answer two primary research questions around number one, the language survivors use to define their experience and the meaning they make from their experiences, and number two, how survivors feel about the use and sharing of their stories in anti-trafficking work. The findings from this study and the survivors' recommendations for marketing are incredibly rich. We are so grateful for the survivors who participated in this study. Work Group 7 will be producing a written summary of these findings for use by task force members and organizations. We are also looking at possibly piloting a survivor-sensitive marketing campaign in the future. However, this year we have been taking a step back to understand how the statewide anti-trafficking hotlines work and how they're marketed as we plan our next steps. So in the last few months, we have been interviewing the NHT Georgia hotline partners to find out more about how they market and connect survivors to services in the state of Georgia. So we are super thankful for our longtime Work Group 7 members and our passionate new members this year. We love that Work Group 7 has historically had a range of members with experience with survivors across the spectrum. And this is really, truly helpful as we continue to analyze and respond to gaps around withdrawal. Alina, I will also put a link to the research study in the chat. The findings are split by themes and are summarized at the end. If you do share it onward, if you would please share that link for the privacy of the interviewees. We hope that you'll consider joining us for open enrollment. These projects around marketing to survivors are incredibly important, but I think Alina can attest that we also do try to have fun and we really want to create a supportive community.
Yes.
And that's it. Thank you, Alina.
Awesome. No, thank you, Mary, and thank you, Work Group 7. So excited about the research and just how that's going to inform next steps, not just for Work Group 7, but for the entire task force. So please, if you have the time, though it is lots of pages, it is a very well thought out, written research paper. So please, Mary, if you could drop it in the chat, that would be lovely. And thank you, Work Group 7. Thank you, Mary, for the report out. Awesome. So we are going to close out with Work Group 8, seeing that we already heard from Work Group 9. So Survivors Recovering and Thriving. This is chaired by Amy Waldron from Devereaux and also co-chaired by Karen Conyers from Georgia Center for Child Advocacy. A lot of really great work being done in this work group. So Karen, I will toss it over to you if you're ready.
Yes, thanks, Elena. Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Conyers. I am the project director for the Envision Project at the Georgia Center for Child Advocacy, in which we provide enrichment workshops for youth who are in various CSEC specific safe homes within the Atlanta metro area. Work Group 8, we do not have or work on projects per se. We are more hands-on. So we actually engage and interact with the youth on a monthly basis. And Work Group 8 and the Envision Project, we work together to provide or put on some of these workshops throughout of the year. Just some of the workshops that we have done thus far this year are one where Work Group 8 and Envision partnered together, was our beauty workshop, in which we had various volunteers from the work group to come in and share their skills and their expertise and their talents with our youth, from learning how to apply makeup, estheticians. We had someone to come in and also help with, show the youth braiding, braiding techniques, how to braid, hair care, skin care, things like that. So, and it also just kind of wrapped it up with some positive motivational, affirmations, so that the youth, will learn or can, appreciate themselves, their beauty, and not, just allow kind of some of societal, I guess, society to kind of put what beauty looks like for them. So we had that workshop back in July, and that was really great. Some of the other workshops that we focused on are personal development, so just kind of understanding self. We also do partner with some survivors of sex trafficking, and we have done book clubs with some of the survivors that has actually written books. And we have done in a game curriculum, and also vision boards with the youth, career readiness, where we've had various career fairs, resume building. So with the career fairs, we partner with a lot of volunteers who come in and discuss their career paths, their journeys, their credentials needed in order to get in various types of careers. And the youth absolutely love those workshops. Independent living skills, where we help the youth understand budgeting, how to budget, how to understand a pay stub, a paycheck, common bills, that may be associated with trying to live, on your own. And also something as simple as making homemade ice cream with, ingredients that is already in your pantry or in your refrigerator. And the fourth kind of category that we focus on is educational support, where we help the youth prepare for GED preparation, if that's the path that they choose, or, helping them with any kind of post schooling, as far as, college, applying for college, 2 or 4 year colleges, certification programs, helping them if they, are interested in the military, things like that, searching and applying for jobs or either colleges. So we provide various workshops for the youth throughout the year, and definitely the help of volunteers, the help of Work Group 8 is, definitely makes a lot of these workshops, more enriched, just bringing their specialty, specialty and expertise in the fields that they are in. Also, yeah, and I think that's it. So as far as the ads for Work Group 8, because we partner with various CSEC specific safe homes within the Atlanta metro area, we always like to provide, various gifts. And, so we ask for donations, and this is always an ask for us, especially the holidays are coming up, and we do have youth who may not, have anywhere to go for the holidays, or we have youth who are in the community who may be, not in the place that they would like to be around the holidays. So just kind of providing them with something that may be comforting for them, rather if that is just a nice, fuzzy warm blanket, or some fuzzy socks, or, journals, snacks. They always love snacks. And we also, provide anything, as far as we do have some youth that are quote unquote, girly girls, and then we have some youth, who we provide like very kind of neutral gender items. So, I do have a list of donations that are allowed across our various sites. So you can definitely email me, and I can send that list to you if you're, would like to donate any items. I will put my email in the chat. And that's it for work group 8. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Karen. I know Amy's not on, but it's just a huge shout out to you all and your leadership and just all of Work Group 8 members who are just so passionate. Truly. So I just want to give a huge shout out to all of the 9 different working groups, but a special thanks to all of our chairs, right? I could not do this work without you all, without your leadership and dedication to all of these projects. In case you all weren't aware, this is a volunteer project. So you all are already extremely busy and just taking out of your own time to do this because you believe in it. So just thank you again to our chairs. Thank you to all of our members. It's been a really, really busy year, and we still have about 3 more months left. So I'm excited to see what other work we can get done before our December quarterly meeting. So excellent. Now we're going to pivot just a tad, right? Because I know we still need about 40 minutes and we still have some really important response and updates to share with you all. But before I do that, please, if anyone does have any questions about anything that was just spoken about, any of the projects, please put it in the chat. Try to connect with those chairs. And if you weren't able to catch those emails, just email me and we'll make sure to address that and get you all connected. All right. So we're now going to move on to just overall, the Georgia response and any different updates, whether it be CJCC related or adjacent or other statewide partners. And we really like to create some space for this because we believe these updates are very important to the work that you all do outside of the task force, but of course, even within the task force. So first, we're going to be hearing from Diane McLeod, right? She is with the Labor Trafficking Task Force. She's not the coordinator. She's the special prosecutor at GBI. And she's speaking on behalf of Barbara Brown, who is the coordinator. So Diane, I know you're on. If you could just provide a brief update about the task force and just some of the recent kind of successes and initiatives that you have to share.
Can you hear me now?
I can, Diane.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I am just so pleased. Like everybody, we are busy. We are a statewide labor task force. Most of the people who are working on the task force are primarily funded by the Howard G. Buffett Foundation, and we try to do a lot of our work in South Georgia, where there seems to be little or no response. Part of that was triggered by the Onion case, which happened in the Waycross, Ware County area in South Georgia. And it was deemed to be one of the largest labor trafficking cases in the country at the time the arrests and the indictments were released. And so I'm glad to let everybody know that out of the 24 defendants, 14 of them have, no, uh, 15 of them have pled guilty, and the remaining defendants are scheduled to go to trial in Waycross on the week of December the 2nd. So we're looking forward to seeing the outcome of that and what happens with that case. As it relates to our outreach work, we have our NGOs who are working very closely with us, and we've had several prominent takedowns that have happened during the course of this year that has been reported out in the local newspapers, and our NGOs are reporting to us that people who were previously working with those companies are now feeling very safe, and they're coming, and they're reporting their trafficking, and they're being able to help them through continuing presence and the processing of their paperwork and their victim forms. So they have been very busy. They've also been busy doing outreach. The outreach is kind of seasonal, so it depends on what the crop is that's being grown during that time. So it's not a steady every week. It just kind of depends on what season it is, what crop it is, and what area of the state they're going to. Initially, there was a little concern because of HSI looking for immigrants, and they were concerned about their safety when they were going down. But the safety concerns seem to have alleviated, and they have gone out, and nobody has reported any issues or any problems lately. So we were very thankful and very glad for that. We are continuing our training with local law enforcement for them to understand what labor trafficking looks like in their area, depending on the area of the state in which they live. And we have been very successful with that. We have been getting demands and requests for people for us to come and provide training. All the trainings thus far have gone very well, and we have been pleased. In addition, we have had several cases on labor trafficking that have been opened as a result of our training and in local law enforcement understanding what labor trafficking looks like in their communities. And so we're looking for those cases actually getting prosecuted and either going to trial or resulting in pleas, whatever happens. We are prepared to move forward. And so we were starting to see the culmination of our efforts over the next several months, which is very exciting for us. We realize that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And that's really the biggest thing that we had to learn to understand as we started with this initiative, is that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. And so we have been working on that. And lastly, I just want you all to know that we've been working really on creating MOUs with our partner agencies. As all of you know, because we have 9 work groups, no one can do this alone. We need our partners in various state agencies and various NGOs. So we've been working on getting our MOUs together with those various agencies, just so that we can have sharing agreements. Some of them are going to be law enforcement sensitive, some of them are not, but making sure that we are getting those standardized MOUs with the various agencies that allow us to do our job more efficiently.
Mhm.
As well as more effectively. So thank you all, and you have a great day. Oh, I want to tell you, and for those of you who know, so every year in Savannah, we have the Savannah Traffic Jam. Savannah Traffic Jam is going to be held January 23rd and 24th, 2026 at Savannah State College, where we are every year, and you are invited to attend, and I will share a flyer with Alina, and she can share it with the
Yes.
group.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you for that update. For those who are wondering, right, there's another task force, right? These are 2 separate task forces, but we do interface and try to make sure that we're not duplicating any efforts. I know Barbara Brown, who's the coordinator, she sits on Work Group 6, which is our labor trafficking task force, and we're always plugged in to make sure, how can we assist one another. But we're going to be dropping in Barbara Brown's email. Diane, if you could do so as well for anyone who would like to connect and learn a little bit more about that task force as well. So y'all can do that too. All right. Well, thank you so much, Diane. We're going to toss it over now to Amy Hutzel, who is my supervisor. She's Director of Special Projects and Partnerships, and she's going to be providing some really exciting updates happening within CJCC. So Amy, if you're able and could come off mute.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Alina. And thank you, Diane. Diane is our amazing prosecutor on the Labor Trafficking Task Force. We appreciate her and appreciate her filling in for Barbara today. Thank you, Diane. Great update. I just have a few things to update our task force members on. First and foremost, and most importantly, I wanted to make sure you were all aware that Georgia has a new statewide SANE coordinator. Marnie Dodd is on our call with us today. Dr. Marnie Dodd, I should say. And Marnie comes to us with a lot of experience. We have heard already in our updates how much medical component there is to the anti-human trafficking work. Medical partners are such an integral part of the work that we do. And we can see that in the work that is being done within our work groups, how that work is intertwined into really every facet of the work. Marnie is a SANE A and a SANE P credentialed. She has a PhD in forensic nursing. And for those of you who are in the medical profession, you may be familiar with a human trafficking screening tool that she developed in partnership with Dr. Jordan Greenbaum. So we are extremely lucky that Marnie chose to join our team, and the state of Georgia is going to benefit tremendously from her expertise. And so I wanted to invite Marnie just to say a couple words, should she feel like it, about her work, in particular anything specific to human trafficking.
Thank you, Amy, for that introduction. Very kind words. I think I'm the lucky one to be able to join such a fantastic team. The state of Georgia is very lucky to have CJCC and this whole group. The task force has been doing amazing work, as said so many times today. I am just going to give a brief introduction. I am a nurse practitioner with a background in family and forensics, and I have my doctorate of nursing practice in forensics, and I've been working at a community-based site in Athens for several years, and then was working and still working with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta in their Stephanie Blank Center for Safe and Healthy Children. So I am still on with them, taking a call occasionally, but we have gotten to work with several players across the state and some responses for child exploitation. And I did have the opportunity to work closely with Dr. Greenbaum for several years on our screening tool, and then also seek patients and elevating our response. I am looking forward to working with you guys. I've been working on the special expert committee under the subgroup for the human trafficking side for a while now, and love working with the teams there. So this is fantastic to hear what all great work you guys are doing on your side. But I'm here. I did put my email in the chat early on in the meeting. So feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to connect with any work with the same programs across the state. I'm looking forward to diving into it in all levels.
Thank you so much, Marnie. Really appreciate that update. And little synopsis of some of the work. That was a drop in the bucket compared to everything that you've done in the state. And so we're really pleased. And y'all will be seeing Marnie, much, much more of Marnie over the next, hopefully, long time. Okay, the next update I have is specific to our Human Trafficking Advocacy Unit at CJCC. Some of you may recall, if you've been around a while, that we started our advocacy unit a few years ago with one person, Lindsay Cheatham. We had received funding from the Department of Justice for the ECM task force that became the Georgia Coalition to Combat Human Trafficking. In partnership with GBI, we were able to create a specialized unit. It's called the HEAT unit, Human Exploitation and Trafficking Unit. And the law enforcement partners and agents that were working within that unit really found the need for direct service advocacy to complement and to help them focus on the investigative role that they were in. And so they came to us, and we were able to provide the funding and supervision of a single advocate, and that was Lindsay Cheatham, who many of you have worked with previously and know. We have expanded that unit because there is a increased need for direct service advocacy. Lainey Bumgardner also works in the human trafficking unit and has a dual role currently at CJCC in our grants division. And she will be coming on full time in the advocacy role. And then we have just hired a new one. So we will have 3 full-time advocates in the advocacy unit. Our new advocate is bilingual, which we are extremely excited about having some additional language skills within that unit. I think I can go ahead and make the announcement. Her name is Rosie Hernandez, and she will be starting work at CJCC here in the next couple of weeks. So look for an introduction probably in our next meeting to Rosie Hernandez. And in the meantime, should any of your law enforcement partners need the assistance of the human trafficking advocates and the human trafficking unit, please reach out. As always, they can be reached through the 866-END-HTGA hotline. Option number 3 will go directly to whichever one of our 3 advocates are on call at the time. In addition, Erica Atzenhofer, who you all know and who supervises the unit and the advocates also takes call from time to time. Her background is in direct service advocacy, and she will take call as well. So you will either get Lindsay, Lainey, Rosie, or Erica if you call that number and select option number 3. And we're really very proud of the work that they do. They work really hard, y'all. Sometimes I get a call from them at 10 o'clock at night, and so I know that they work around the clock to make sure that our human trafficking victims have the best, most victim-centered and trauma-informed response and referral to the appropriate resources throughout the state. So shout out to the advocacy team.
Awesome.
Finally, Alina, is this my last announcement? The child abuse protocol. Was
Yes.
there?
Yes, it
Okay.
is.
So we are going to be hosting a day-long event in partnership with the Office of the Child Advocate. Some of you who have been in the child protection space probably recall that there were opportunities to update the model child abuse protocol previously. And we haven't had that opportunity in the last few years. And we wanted to reach out to our partners and see if we could do something to bring that opportunity back. So under our statewide human trafficking task force, we have created this new project in partnership with OCA to host a day-long event to allow stakeholders from the child protection space to make suggestions about how that model protocol can be updated. Obviously, with respect to human trafficking, we are primarily concerned with our CSEC victims, and that the proper response to CSEC cases is properly addressed within that model protocol. And so any of you that are working specifically in that child or CSEC space who would like to attend and provide that input, typically the way that works is we break up into groups, and each group is assigned a different section of the protocol, and you read through it and make revisions, suggested revisions, and then we present those in a comprehensive format to OCA. And so that tentative date right now is November 14th. And if you are interested in attending, please let Alina know, or you can also just drop your contact information in the chat. And hopefully, Alina, if you don't mind just compiling any interested parties, their information, we'll make sure that you receive an invitation. I don't have a
Perfect.
location just yet, but we'll try to make it central. I'm guessing perhaps Gypstick, of course, is an option because it's central to our stakeholders, so no one has to travel too far. But it will be an in-person opportunity, and it will be open to stakeholders statewide. So I think that's all I have.
Yeah, I think so. Thank you so much, Amy. And yes, I see people already in the chat, so we will try to compile all of that and get you all plugged in. So thank you, Amy. We will,
Fantastic. Thank you, Alina.
of course, we're going to turn it over to Tracy McMahon. She is the CSEC response manager for DFACS right now. Again, for the sake of time, we are not going to be accepting any live questions. If you do have any questions, just please put it in the chat. But we do want to make it over to our topical presentation. But Tracy's going to be talking about the recent CSEC transition, just providing a brief overview, and of course, just introducing herself. So Tracy, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. Thanks everyone for allowing me to speak real quick. So like Ms. Lena said, my name is Tracy McMahon. I'm the CSEC response team manager for HS and DFACS. And so currently DFACS has taken over all of the CSEC assessments that were previously completed by CACGA. And so essentially my team will be working on doing the assessments and assisting the agencies and the partners that are submitting the referrals through that assessment process, I'll be doing all the investigative pieces of it, forensic interview setup, those type of things, to really determine whether or not we have information or lack thereof of exploitation. And then from there, linking them with services. I also work closely with Lindsay Cheatham as well. When we potentially get cases where adults are identified through that process, I work with her as well. The best way to make a referral is to call 1-844-END-CSEC, or you can always go to DHS Georgia. Then hit on the very top, there'll be a yellow banner under Child and Family Services, and then you click that button, and then you go all the way down, and there will be a big square button that says commercial sexual exploitation of children. You click there, and that's where you make the referral for the assessment to be completed. Keeping in mind, if you have active concerns for exploitation in the child or the individual that the child who is caring for the child is a potential concern for supervision or exploitation, those also still need to go through the DFACS hotline, 1-855 Georgia Child, in order to report the child abuse and neglect component. The 1-844-NCSEC is for the assessment piece only, not for the investigative piece with regards to child abuse and neglect associated with the concerns for exploitation. And so I'm working really closely with a lot of the CACs across the state. I've had a lot of meetings already with them to talk about the process, the collaboration. They are still the boots on the ground. The resources and the communities are still who we look for to be able to help give support to those survivors and those families. So I've been working collectively with each of the CACs to meet with them, talk through any logistics, and just work through the process as we kind of move through this process and this new progression. And we are looking at bringing back the CSEC MDT statewide meeting, hopefully, if not by the end of September. So be looking for that, or in October. We're still working out the logistics around that to make sure that it is beneficial for all, and we have the most critical cases on the docket, as well as making sure all of our partners are aware of that schedule. That's kind of the big overview, Miss Lena. I can put my information in the chat box if anyone has any questions.
Yes.
As well.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do. Please do. If
Yes,
you could
ma'am.
put your contact information, that would be incredible. Thank you so much, Tracy. I do want to note, right, that this kind of new response, this new number is still option 2 on the statewide human trafficking hotline and HTGA hotline. I know there's been some confusion there, but that is still the hotline tree that we utilize. And now when you call option 2, you will connect to Tracy and her team. So thank you, Tracy. Thanks for the time. And just thank you to all of our speakers that we wanted to bring over some of those really important updates that's been going on a statewide kind of effort. So with that, I know this has been a jam-packed meeting, but I do really want to bring to the stage Christy Carter. She's going to be talking about VINE. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's victim identification and information every day. She is a program director here at CJCC, and this is really important, beneficial information if you aren't aware about it. And she's going to be providing just a brief overview to get you all plugged in. So Christy Carter, I will turn it over to you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I also wanted to say a big thank you to our task force members for all the work that you do and the time that you volunteer. I also want to thank Alina for the opportunity to share about VINE. This is our first statewide automated victim notification system procurement and implementation. I know we're running a little short on time, so I will have Alina share my email in the chat in case you all have follow-up questions. But we'll go ahead and move forward, Lainey, in the presentation. Okay. Why do we need a statewide automated victim notification system? So I wanted to share some numbers that support the need for the system and why we put so much effort and investment into the service. CJCC truly feels like this is a step that needs to be taken to save lives and support victims of crime. According to the Commission on Family Violence from 2020 to 2024, there were 214,047 reported incidents of family violence. And they also reported that in 2020, there were 182 DV-related fatalities. And in 2021, there were 212 DV-related fatalities. And in the most recent report in 2024, there have been 159 DV-related fatalities. So those high numbers support the need, right, for a uniform and automated notification system, which benefits survivors in safety planning, peace of mind, and provides knowledge of an offender's location and allows them to plan accordingly. It benefits our law enforcement, our criminal justice personnel, advocates, service providers, and the public in providing safety and information access. It also provides the ability to track and to hopefully save a lot of time. So how did we get here? Because it's been quite a journey and we still have lots of work to do. We applied for a discretionary grant and we received that OBC technology grant to assist us in procuring a system back in 2019. At the time, we were one of 7 states that didn't have an automated statewide notification system. We have also had some additional supports through the adoption of Senate Bill 441, which tasks the Criminal Data Exchange Board to make a recommendation for the adoption of an automated system in Georgia. And per that bill, the system was to provide for individualized notification to victims of certain occurrences in each case involving the victim, including but not limited to occurrences of arrest, pretrial release, court hearings, sentencing, and we have been in communication with that CDX board regarding the award and our plan to procure that automated system. And so we presented to the board, we released an RFP, and then we essentially gathered our stakeholders at the statewide level to assist us in the review process. We did procure the VINE system and we have been in implementation mode. This helps us do a number of things. Obviously, it helps us to ensure that folks are informed and can make decisions regarding safety planning, which we believe saves lives. But it also helps us to meet the provision defined in Marcy's Law, the Georgia Crime Victims' Rights Bill, which provides individuals who are victims of certain crimes specific rights, including the right upon request to reasonable, accurate, and timely notice of arrest, release, or escape of the accused. And so essentially those are constitutionally protected and enforced. And so again, I like to provide a little background of the project so folks understand that we did gather stakeholders in that process and different methods that have supported us along the way. Next slide. So a little history on VINE. VINE was created after a domestic violence situation in Louisville, Kentucky in 1993. A young woman, Mary Byron, had just ended her relationship with her ex-boyfriend. That ex-boyfriend began stalking her and eventually assaulted her in the basement of her parents' home. Her parents had him arrested. Mary and her parents asked to be notified if he was released so that they could get her to safety. But on Mary's 21st birthday, she was murdered by her ex-boyfriend who had been released from jail on bond while awaiting trial. And 2 men saw the coverage of that murder and thought they could do something to help. So they started the automated notifications in that one jail in Louisville, and VINE has grown from there. Next slide. So VINE stands for Victim Information Notification Every Day, per Alina. It is an automated notification delivery system, which we are essentially providing access to folks that are searching or registering in the system to access changes in their offender custody status. Again, before automated notifications, I know we've done the best that we can in notifying victims, but sometimes, right, they could find themselves in the dark or unaware of developments regarding their offender. They can essentially access services through a toll-free number. They can visit www.vinelink.com or the VineLink mobile app to anonymously check on offenders' custody status and or register to then receive automated notifications for that specific offender in the way that they choose to receive notifications, which could be by phone, email, text, or TTY messaging. Next slide. So Vine's impact has really been profound. And as of 2025, it's operating in 48 states in the District of Columbia and has delivered over 800 million notifications to users across the US. Georgia currently has about 55% of the state's jails and counties onboarded, but we have a goal of reaching our statewide reach. Next slide. So I want to share some of Georgia Vine's key benefits and then also just what we are doing in the implementation. Georgia Vine also provides additional resources for advocates, service providers, law enforcement, etc. But let's look to see what users can do. Next slide. So again, this is a completely free service. Essentially, victims and survivors can confidentially register to receive automated notifications about changes in custody status. So again, they can register through that toll-free number. They can register through vinelink.com or through the mobile app. They can either do this by essentially searching an offender through their name, their case ID, etc. And they don't have to register, but they can register, which then allows the users to update or delete any of their registrations, and then also add their offender to a watch list, which then provides them those automated notifications in the method that they choose. Next slide. So how does it work? Okay. The success of Vine essentially relies on the workflow, which begins with booking records. So after an arrest, a booking occurs. And once that booking occurs, the data is entered into a jail management system that then interfaces with Vine. And that's what we are working county by county on, those interfaces. And then that information is loaded into Vine's platforms. And so Equifax is using that incarceration data to power this nationwide victim notification service. As a result of the booking data being entered, again, the victim can access and register for Vine via those ways that we discussed. And then again, they provide victims and the public with information regarding the custody status. Some counties and some states also have court case and protective order information, but CJCC has focused on offender custody status, okay? The system, again, allows for that comprehensive search, so you can search for individuals and their custody status via name, by name, state, or ID number, and that they will provide details such as the status date, the booking date, the location, and the reporting agency. Okay. Essentially, I do want to let you all know, when changes are made, Vine gets that data within 15 minutes to check against any registrations. So those notifications will automatically go within that real time of about 15 minutes once that data is updated. Next slide. Throughout a victim's journey, we know that they need resources, and most aren't locating resources as much as we had hoped. So research is telling us that fewer in 1 in 10 victims of a serious crime receive services from a provider. And one of the great things that Vine has is a service provider directory, which allows the victim to access them individually, right? They essentially can put in their location, and it will pull any resources that are located within their area or that might be specialized for them. Essentially, what happens is a service provider inputs their registration and information to be a part of the Georgia Vine Service Provider Directory. CJCC receives those applications, reviews the profiles, and then will either approve or deny them in order for those to go live in the system and be accessible by individuals. Okay, next slide. So we continue to expand as we move through year 2 of implementation. Again, the goal is to have full participation to include all of Georgia's county jails. Next slide. We currently have 71 counties that are providing the automated notifications. The counties that are live in Georgia Vine are shaded in purple. And I think we have 71 counties that are, again, live. And then I think we have 51 counties that are actively working on implementation, which are in teal. Again, we have about 55% of our county jails that are fully implemented with those live auto notifications. And if your county is not colored in, we are likely awaiting a survey or they are in progress. And so just know that we're doing our best to reach every county, ensure that the resource is available for every victim of crime in Georgia. Next slide. So here are we reaching. In the past 12 months, the system has delivered 60,454 potential life-saving notifications. We've had 25,649 victims and survivors of crime to register to receive those notifications. And we've connected over 3,000 victims to providers to provide services in Georgia. Next. I get a lot of questions on how we are funding Georgia Vine and what sustainability looks like for the system. So in an effort to be as transparent as possible, I will share how we have supported the launch and implementation and our plans moving forward. Next slide. This has been probably one of our primary challenges in speaking with the sheriffs. I do want to give a shout out to the Sheriff's Association, as they have been tremendous supporters in providing access to those sheriffs, and then also providing training and information to onboard them as quickly as possible. Currently, it's costing about $1.8 million to run the system. And many states that utilize Vine are using a mix of federal and state funding to support the statewide service. We currently fund the service through federal funds, which has been listed on the slide. We will continue to educate the Office for Planning and Budget and the legislature on needs and impacts of the system. And we have made requests to receive state funds to support the service, and we'll continue to educate them on the need for continued sustainability. But I will say that CJCC is committed to the long-term sustainability of this service and will continue utilizing federal funds as long as we are able, as we truly believe that these automated notifications are life-saving and should be available to victims of crime. Next slide. And I'll take any questions, but I also want to let you know that we, again, provide lots of trainings and demos across the state. So if you are interested in a demo, or if you would like for us to come out to your community as you don't have Vine and you need some assistance or have some influence, I would encourage you to reach out to me. Again, this is a priority of CJCC's, and we want to do whatever we can in order to get everyone live on the system as we move forward in year 2 of our implementation. I really appreciate your time, and I hope that you all, if you all are working with victims, ensure that they know that this is available to them. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christy. Thank you for being, even though that was a lot of information, still brief. I know that there's a lot of interest. And so like Christy said, she can come back and do a more in-depth demo, but we always believe that information that was shared today is beneficial for you all. So please, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. If it's something that I can connect you all with Christy about, I would love to see Vine in all of our counties, right? And I know that's what Christy and the rest of the CJCC team also would like to see. So again, Christy, thank you so much. Everyone, I know we are right at time, so I'm going to breeze through these admin updates and then we can adjourn. As you can see, these meetings are jam-packed with great information. So with that, right, the only thing that I really want to remind everyone is that our next quarterly meeting is going to be December 3rd. This is going to be in person here at the State Bar. The December meeting is very festive, right? We focus a little less on those updates and a lot more on just networking, right? And just project planning for the new year. So I hope that you all can make it. I'll be sending some more information closer to that date, but just mark it on your calendars right now as we close out this year. And to really end this meeting, I do just want to remind everyone, open enrollment for the 2026 Task Force session is coming up. It is right around the corner, beginning on October 6th. That is a Monday, and it will be closing November 14th. Okay, so essentially what that is, we're going to be creating a pretty comprehensive application process. You all will go in there, understand very, very clearly what your role would be as a partner level or affiliate level member, understanding the different work groups, right? So that if there are any questions, it should all be answered within the beginnings of that application process. And you'll have about a month to go through that. And apply for the work group or level that you would be interested in. Throughout that month, right, please reach out to myself and the team if you have any questions. I'm very eager to hop on calls and walk you through where your best interests and expertise would align. But also, if you know people within your network that would be a great fit for the task force, right, or would be interested, but they don't know about it, let us know, reach out to them, connect us with them, right? We are all about targeted recruitment and bringing onto this project intentional, dedicated individuals that are ready to come and do the work as well, right? So we really need your help with some of that targeted recruitment. Once the application closes on November 14th, our team and the chairs will do an internal review of the applications, and then those final notifications of approval will be made in December. And then it's 2026 and we start the year off, right? So really excited about it, especially for new folks that are on. Please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions. You will be hearing from me a lot in the next month as we gear up for open enrollment. So please do not hesitate to reach out with any of those questions. So with that being said, we are going to wrap up this meeting, and I want to do it again by just saying thank you so much to the entire task force, for all of our partners. We could not do this work without you all. We are truly making such an incredible impact, and I hope you all realize that every single one of you are a part of that. So again, thank you so, so very much. This meeting, like I said, will and is being recorded and will be uploaded onto the YouTube page. So if anyone does need to go back and review anything or get some contact information, that will be available there. But then, of course, don't hesitate to reach out to me as well. So with that being said, thank you all so very much. And I hope you all have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you all in the monthly meetings. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.